Don't you want to read? A student engagement and reading comprehension strategy with the Word Nerd. Hey teachers, my name's Amanda Zieba. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd, and today I'm going to be teaching you all about a reading comprehension strategy that includes this classic toy and some great books. This strategy can be used with fiction and nonfiction material and can be used with readers of all ages. In fact, I've even used it with my college-age students and they loved it. But before I tell you how it's going to work, let's dive into some of the pedagogy and why you might want to employ this strategy. We all know that there are lots of different kinds of learners. As we look out over the students in our classroom, we know that truly no two are alike and that everybody learns in different kinds of ways. We know that there are verbal learners and auditory learners, visual and spatial learners, as well as logical and mathematical thinkers. There are those who learn best by doing things physically, or otherwise known as kinesthetic learners. There are those that like to be social and others that like to be solitary. And if we ask ourselves, how often do we reach all of those learners? We have to be honest with ourselves and realize that maybe those learning styles at the top of the list get hit more than the ones at the bottom of the list. Today I'm going to teach you about a strategy that will reach these three kinds of learners. First and foremost, your kinesthetic and physical learners, also auditory learners, and those who both prefer solitary activities and the opportunity to be social with their learning. All right, your first step is to get some Play-Doh. It doesn't have to be the Play-Doh brand. That's just what I found at my Target. I was able to get a multi-pack for something like $10. But if you're really on a budget, try the dollar store. Or go to the party planning aisle, where you get all the birthday party stuff. And sometimes they have really itty-bitty packs of Play-Doh that you can put in prize bags for birthday parties, but you can also get them for this great activity. So step one, get your hands on some Play-Doh. Step two is to pick out the text that you would like your students to think about and to comprehend. I'm going to show you an example using Front Desk here in just a little bit, but you could just as easily use your textbook for a different content area. Or you could use nonfiction texts like these for an example in a social studies class, or you could even use articles for your content like maybe this for a science class. Really, any text will work. Once you have your Play-Doh and your text, you set out your expectations for your students. Tell them that you are going to read out loud to them, and while they are listening, they need to be creating an image with their Play-Doh. This image could be the character and an action that they're taking. It could be an emotion that the character is feeling, like an emoji. It could be the scene or the setting, creating a landscape of where the character is. It could be a symbol of something that relates to the story. It doesn't matter what they're creating. It's just that they're thinking about the text and they're trying to make that thinking visible with their mini sculpture. After you're done reading, give the students a couple of minutes to finish up their creation, and then it's time to share. You can either do this in partners or as a whole class or small groups, whatever you'd like, or you could even have your students write about their sculpture if you want to pair this reading and writing activity together. There is no wrong or right creation, okay? Whatever your student comes up with is correct, as long as they can explain the way that their image is connected to the text. All right, so let's give this a try. I'm going to read you the first page of Front Desk by Kelly Yang, and as I'm reading, I want you to be thinking, if you had some Play-Doh in your hands, what would you be creating, and then how would you explain it, and how would you explain that it connects to the text? Let's give it a try. Chapter 1. My parents told me that America would be this amazing place where we could live in a house with a dog, do whatever we want, and eat hamburgers till we were red in the face. So far, the only part of that we've achieved is the hamburger part, but I was still holding out hope. And the hamburgers are pretty good. The most incredible burger I've ever had was at the Houston Space Center last summer. We weren't planning on eating there. Everyone knows museum food is 50,000 times more expensive than outside food. But one whiff of the sizzling bacon as we passed the cafe, and my knees wobbled. My parents must have heard the howls of my stomach because the next thing I knew, my mother was rummaging through her purse for coins. We only had enough money for one hamburger, so we had to share. But man, what a burger. It was a mile high with real bacon and mayonnaise and pickles. My mom likes to tease that I devoured the whole thing in one gulp, leaving the two of them only a couple of crumbs. I'd like to think I gave them more than that. The other thing that was great about that Space Center was the free air conditioning. We were living in our car that summer, which sounds like a lot of fun, but actually wasn't, because our car's AC was busted. So after the burger, my dad parked himself in front of the vent and stayed there for the entire rest of the time. It was like he was trying to turn his fingers into popsicles. All right, so it's just a really little excerpt, but some of the things that students might create with their Play-Doh when listening to this is, number one, obvious, a hamburger, okay? We spend a lot of time talking about a hamburger in this book, and it not only does it a physical thing, but it symbolizes the desires of the characters, okay? They might also create a car because the characters are living in their car. They might create a sunshine because it is really hot and the character talks a lot about that. Maybe they create a dollar sign or some coins because this family is struggling with money and that could be prevalent and on their mind. Maybe they make some sun and stars and moon because they're at the Space Center or a rocket. There are all sorts of things that a student could make or think about making as a sculpture in connection to this book. And then once they're done making it, they'll explain to their classmates what they made and why they made it. And by thinking about what to make and then how it connects to the book, they're creating these lasting relationships in their brain of the text, in its meaning, and the way that it connects to them as a reader, thus increasing their reading comprehension. Hopefully, they're also having a little bit of fun while they do this, being a little nostalgic, being kids again. Like I said, every student I've ever done this with has always had a blast, and I hope your students will too. All right, let's quickly recap those steps. Step 1, choose a read aloud text. This could be fiction or nonfiction. Step 2, provide students with materials, directions, and your expectations. Step 3, read aloud and create. And finally, step 4, share creations with classmates, pointing out connections between the creation they made and the text. And then, voila, you've done it. Once again, here's why this works. While our body is occupied by a task that doesn't demand a lot of attention, our brain is free to wander, think, and process. It's the same reason why we often get good ideas in the shower, or while we're driving, or laying down to go to sleep, or washing dishes or folding laundry. Our body is doing something on repeat, and therefore our brain is able to process and think about other things, coming up with new and inventive ideas. When we view this strategy through the lens of our classroom, it's amazing because it allows students who have strong spatial and artistic skills to shine, an opportunity that can sometimes be rare in our classrooms. We need to remember to seek out ways for all of our students to learn and to shine and to grow. Sometimes it can be hard, but I promise you it's worth the extra effort. Hopefully this activity can bring fun and comprehension to your classroom, as well as an opportunity for some of your kinesthetic learners to shine. And that's it. For a few dollars, you can create an engaging reading experience, one that promotes reading comprehension for all kinds of learners in your classroom, but especially those who benefit from kinesthetic activities. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and come back again for more great videos from the Word Nerd. See you again next time.